So if you're somebody who notices that they have a lot of random thoughts, like especially at night, where it seems to kind of go from point A to point B, work, then family, then the future, then about sleep, then about yada yada yada, what you watched, a movie, then this video is going to be for you because I have a strategy that's going to be really helpful to help direct your thoughts in order to make sure that these random thoughts don't keep you up at night. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Dr. Parky. I'm a clinical psychologist as well as a behavioral sleep medicine specialist, meaning I provide evidence-based treatments not using medication for treatment of chronic insomnia. I also have written my own self-help book. It's called The Insomnia Paradox. I'll put a link in the description below, but let's get into the video. Okay, so this strategy in particular is really helpful if you notice that it's not one specific thing like a worry or a sleep anxious thought that keeps you awake at night. It's just like your mind just likes to race. It likes to go everywhere and think about everything, everywhere, all at once, just like the movie. So in this context, one of the strategies that I found super helpful with my patients is something called directing your thoughts. So in the context of allowing your mind to run rampant at night, your thoughts basically direct you. It takes you basically everywhere from point A to point B, and there's sometimes kind of spooky thoughts or anxiety-provoking thoughts. Regardless, it kind of just keeps you awake. So one strategy that can be really helpful is to be the director of your own thoughts. So in this context, instead of allowing your thoughts to direct you, you are the conductor of your thoughts and you are deciding what you want to think about. And in terms of what you think about, there can be a million different options and some work better for others. And, some of my patients have had ideas like counting down from 1,000 by 7, so, 993, 986. For other people, they would think about a recent movie that they watched and then they would think about an alternative ending and play that out. For other people, it'd be creating recipes or thinking about going on an adventure with their friends and family. So it's usually something that is quite pleasant or neutral and something that allows them to keep their thoughts in their own control without allowing it to kind of go everywhere, while also being relatively non-negative in its connotation. And the way to really make sure you're setting yourself up for success, number one is to go to bed when you're actually feeling sleepy. So if you're not sleepy at 10, you're not sleepy at 11, but you're noticing maybe that sleepiness come at 12 or 12:30 or 1, that is your cue to go to bed. We want to make sure that your mind has the least chance to start going crazy by making sure that you're actually going to bed at a time when you actually notice some of the sleepiness cues, even if it doesn't feel like super strong right now because you're struggling with insomnia. So that's step number one. Step number two is to make sure that you kill the monster before it gets too big. And what I mean by that is you don't want to go to bed and try to sleep in the context of like trying not to think about anything, but then only try to use this strategy once you notice that your mind is already racing, because then the monster is already pretty big and your direct attempts to control it or to choose a different pathway is going to be much harder. So what I actually encourage you to do is that once you get into bed, you're already thinking about that new story or that new movie ending or, counting down from 1,000, again, whatever works for you. So you're killing the monster before it gets too big. And I don't want you to treat this as a direct attempt to fall asleep. So your goal isn't inherently to be like, okay, if I practice what Parky is saying, I'm going to be able to fall asleep twice as quickly. That may happen and it may not. That's not the goal. The goal is to be the director of your thoughts, to say, okay, for these next 10 minutes, then 20 minutes, and 30 minutes, I'm the one controlling what thoughts enter my mind. So I'm going to continue thinking about, spending time with my friends at Disneyland or, thinking about the story that I'm creating in my mind. Whatever that might be, you're really just practicing your ability to allow yourself to direct your thoughts without engaging in what I call sleep effort, where you're essentially forcing yourself to sleep using these strategies, which is usually counterproductive. It doesn't work. But what you can control is how long you can maintain your attention on your own story and direct your thoughts. So hopefully this video was helpful to have one more strategy that you can put in your back pocket for those kind of racing thoughts at night. In the future, I'll talk about some of the other strategies I often use with patients in order to tackle their thoughts, or especially the content, the ones that make it hard for them to sleep, like worries about the next day or anxious about kind of sleep in general. So, watch out for that. I think I've also created another video on coping statements for resilience. So I'll throw that somewhere, up here at the end of the video. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.